Hi, everybody. I'm here for a quick update. As you all know, on Thursday, February 29th, I was supposed to have my first chemo session. It is Sunday, March 3rd, and I have not had my first chemo session yet. The reason being is I got an allergic reaction to a face wash last week, and my eyes swelled up really bad, and my lips swelled up really bad. My tongue and my lips were like super tingly, and my lips were swollen. They felt like stuffed sausage, and like all the skin around my mouth was dried up and cracking and hurting and everything. And so I had contacted my PCP the Friday before last, and he said, "Oh, just take Benadryl and Claritin over the weekend, and if it's not better, then call me on Monday." So I did that, and it was not better by that Monday. So I called my doctor's office, and the nurse was supposed to be setting me up for a virtual appointment for Tuesday. Well, instead of putting it in for a virtual appointment, she put it in for an in-person appointment. So I missed that appointment on Tuesday. So I called back on Wednesday and actually had a virtual appointment. Now, this was the day before the chemo was supposed to start. So my PCP is like, "Well, I'll prescribe you a steroid, but you need to call your oncologist because I don't think you're going to be able to have your chemo treatment tomorrow." And that upset me so much. So I call over to my oncologist office and I speak with the nurse, and she says, "Well, I'll talk to the doctor and I'll get back with you." Now, mind you, at the time I'm driving down the highway on my way to the airport to pick up my son, who was flying into town to be with me for the chemo session the next day. So the nurse calls back and she says, the doctor says, you really can't take the chemo treatment. And you guys, I started bawling, absolutely bawling. And I'm like, I'm on my way down the highway now to pick up my son who's coming into town. And I have been working so hard on getting my mental and my emotional together for this treatment tomorrow. So she says, "Okay, well, let me talk to the doctor again." So meanwhile, I actually pick up my son. We're leaving out of the airport when the doctor calls back. And I tell him the same thing. I was like, "Look, I just picked up my son like 3 minutes ago. He flew into town to be with me for the treatment, and I've worked so hard." And I'm like, at this point, I'm ugly crying. And my oncologist listens to me, and after I was done, he says, "I understand everything that you're saying." He said, "But your body is fighting an allergic reaction, and the chemotherapy is going to give you an allergic reaction too. We can't have your body fighting two allergic reactions." And I'm just bawling. I mean, by this time, I'm like shaking uncontrollably. And you guys have to understand that is not like me. I'm pretty even keeled emotionally. It was so bad. My son told me to pull over because I was just shaking and crying. And then he got in and he started driving. And I finished talking to the doctor. And what the doctor said to me, he said, "The first rule of medicine is to do no harm. You cannot take the chemo on Thursday. You're going to have to wait until Monday." So I understood it, but I was still upset because I did not want to be in that chemo session on Monday by myself. So anyway, my son told me, "Don't worry about it, Mom. Don't worry about it." So my oncologist said to take the steroids that my PCP prescribed, and I was supposed to take I don't have it here, is it? I think it's something like dexamethasone or something like that. But you take 2 pills twice a day, the day before chemo, the day of chemo, and then the day after chemo. He told me not to take it on Sunday, which is today. Just continue with the steroids, the PCP prescribed. So as you can see, it's mostly cleared up. You know, it's still like dark around here and stuff, and just a little bit, but it's like way better than what it was. But let me tell you all, God is good. God is good. So we get back to my place. Now my son is a flight attendant for Delta Airlines. He immediately goes on to his work phone and he cancels all of his trips for next week so that he could be with me on Monday. I love my son, y'all. I love him so much. And it actually all worked out well, because originally he was flying in Wednesday. He was going to be with me for chemo on Thursday, and then he had to fly out Friday. And then a friend of mine, she was going to come over Friday and stay with me Friday, Saturday, and maybe Sunday, right? So with the chemo being postponed until tomorrow, which is Monday, March 4th, my son is actually able to stay with me a day or two longer than he would have if I had the chemo on Thursday. On top of that, the friend who was going to stay with me, she got a call that her father is very ill in Chicago. So of course she had to go see her father, but she didn't want to let me down. So with me not having the chemotherapy on Thursday, she actually left and went to be with her father on Thursday. And it all just kind of worked out well. So I am getting chemo tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. I have been doing some preparing for that. I'll set up another video and talk about that. But yes, my chemotherapy was postponed by Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, by 4 days because of an allergic reaction to a face wash. Ugh. Anyway, thank you all so much for all of your kind words and your kind thoughts. Please like this video. Please leave me words of encouragement. I could really use it, especially now. And subscribe, and I'll be giving more updates on this journey of mine. Until then, have a good day, everybody.